This is a Frisky Demo exclusive tutorial.
Hi guys, this is Frisky Nipper Tutorials. Sorry I haven't uploaded in a while. I've been busy with exams and been away on holiday in Australia for a month. But yeah, I'm back. Anyway, this is a bass that someone requested for me to recreate and show everyone quite a while back. I can't remember your name, but I will link you to it. I'll go through my messages and find you. But basically this is how to recreate the bass in Cenobite Onslaught. I was so happy when I found this bass. I was messing around with Band Reject and Bandpass trying to find it, and I managed to crack it. And yeah, this is what the original sounds like. So that's how the original sounds, and just to show you how accurate this is, I'm actually going to play the original again, but take out the first 8 bars of the drop, so it'll be mine playing. I only really focused on the main bass that he asked me to make was the starting bass, you know, the huge, like, boom. So that's what I've made here. So this is basically going to be whether you decide whether to follow this tutorial and get the sound or not. But anyway, this is what it sounds like. So as you can hear, the starting bass sounds very alike, and that's the one that I've been trying to recreate. I'll just play it for you one more time from here. So that's what I'm going to show you how to make. Now, this is a very temperamental patch. It took me a long time to get it to sound the way it did. It was such a precise, well, basically it's a bastard of a sound. So I'm not going to start from scratch. I'm not going to go new sound blah blah blah. I'm going to give away the patch on my Facebook page, so you have to like it, but I'm just going to give you a run through of how I started off and turn everything off and kind of introduce everything. So I started off with oscillator 1 of it. Oh, I've got to turn everything off, give me a second. So I started off with this. I don't know how to pronounce that, but it's that one, Magia or whatever the hell. I put that on bend minus, pitched it down -12. Ignore all the LFOs for the minute. In fact, I'll mute them as well. So yeah, but I got that to sound like this. From then on I went to oscillator 2, got the same oscillator as oscillator 1, but kept that on spectrum, but also put that down to -12, intensity and amp full, wavetable position in the middle, the same as oscillator 1. So this is what this sounds like. So you can hear we're getting there. Oscillator 3, I put that on -24, that's 2 octaves down. Chose Mellowfunt, had the wavetable position to full, intensity about 2 o'clock, hitting the Y, amp full, bend plus, and all of these oscillators are in the middle of filter 1 and filter 2. Why they are, I can't remember why, I just put them there. And that gave me this sound with the 3 oscillators on their own. So it's got quite a simple sound at the moment, but it's the processing from now on which would give us the effects. So I then went on to modulation to give the bass movement. I added a ring mod onto oscillator 2, pitched it down to -12.06. So this 0.06 gives the movement if you listen. You probably can't hear it, it's quite a minute detail, but it really adds. And then I had the ring mod here, and then I put a phase on oscillator 3, which kind of distorts the sound really, I guess, because obviously that bass is very distorted. So I put that on oscillator 3, which is like the bassy oscillator, as it's tuned down 2 octave instead of 1 octave, which gave off this sound. That added a lot to the sound for me, and that's when I started to get closer to the sound. Then I came on to my filters and LFOs to get the movement. So I started off by getting LFO 5, having it on 1:1, ratio 1:1, on ramp, and turn the X-fade curve up to full. Yeah, that's it for that. I dragged that onto wavetable position of oscillator 1 and oscillator 2. So if I unmute them, they're basically in the middle. You want the green on the right. This adds movement to the oscillators, which will add movement to your sound, which will interest the listeners more, and it will give it this sound. As you can hear, it's getting very close now, but it's missing that kind of that filter in there that's like, I don't know, it just makes your face melt more. So this is when I went over to the filters. I could hear that it was band reject or band pass. Ended up with band reject. So if we turn that on, we have the cutoff to here, 2 o'clock. The bandwidth and resonance just standard in the middle. This gave this sound. But to get the movement from the filter, I had to set up another LFO because it just worked better with a sine shape filter, sine shape LFO. So again, the X-fade curves up to the top, the ratio is 1:1. I dragged LFO 6 onto the cutoff and left it like this, which gave off this sound. As you can hear, that's sounding a lot like it now. But obviously, once you've done that, you've got to use all the effects and whatnot to get it sounding just a little bit more powerful. So yeah, you turn that up to full, turn that up to mix 1, and then I went down to my inserts and put a bit crusher on. Dry wet all the way up to full, the crush pretty high. Now this is the more temperamental part of the bass. If you turn it and stuff, it sounds, well, from what I remember, it sounded very different. So I'm not going to touch any of the knobs to show you. You can do that yourself. After that, gave it this sound. Sorry, that was a bit laggy. Excuse me, I'll play that again. And then just to beef up the sound a bit more, classic tube, your standard distortion, there you go, which gave it this sound. Beefed up the sound a lot. And then the classic dimension expander, which almost everyone puts on almost all of their basses, which gave off this sound. You want your size and your dry wet very small, as you don't want the bass to echo. It will make your mixes sound messy and it will make your bass sound messy, so have them very low like that. And then I went over to the EQ and boosted the low shelf a bit, just to give it that kind of throbbing sub bass. I'll just check over here. Voicing. You want your pan position on full, as then it will come out of, like, it will be a wider sound. So it will be more like heavy on your ears, which will make it psychologically feel heavier than if you were to have it panned in the middle. So you put your pan position on full and your unisono on 2, so that it's almost like 2 sounds playing in each ear instead of 1 sound in the middle. I then put it on monorotate legato, and then on the time I put that to 0.66, the glide time, which is roughly the same time as in Onslaught, to give the glide from the first note to the second. As you can see, they're joined together, like they're overlapping each other, so that they glide from one note to the other. That's the gliding part. Go to your 4th envelope and make sure, oh, not that one, that your level can sometimes be like that. Make sure you turn it up to full. And I think that's it. So, oh well, that's it for the patch, and then I'll show you a bit of external processing. Well, there's literally nothing on this. All I did was stick a wave shaper on, which kind of beefs up the sound, makes it sound bigger. If I play you without and then with, you can hear that. And then obviously when you're mixing or whatever, when you're putting it into a mix, you're going to want to EQ out some of the low end, so I don't know, you'd have it like there, maybe even a bit higher. Followed by, you'd create a sub bass, following, so you'd have the oscillator on 0.66 as well to give the same glide. Yeah, this is my sub if you want to copy it. I use it in all of my songs. It's up to you really, but yeah, make a sub to go with the main bass, and that will give it more beef. You might not be able to hear it if you're playing out of your laptop, but certainly if you put in get some nice speakers or a sub or whatever, you'll be able to hear how much a sub improves a song or a mix. So it's always good to have a sub following your bass. I would then, I mean, I did this in like 5 minutes, the mix inside, shoving the wave shaper on, but you could add distortion like on the side or whatever you use. Sausage fatten is always a good one to beefing up your sounds, or camel fat. I'm not going into detail about them because this is more about the patch, but they add more beef to the sound. But for this particular bass, I don't really think it needs distortion, even though the sound's very distorted. So yeah, that's how to make the Onslaught bass. Yeah, like me on Facebook to get the free patch. I'll have the link in the description. Follow my main YouTube, Frisky Nipper Official. I've got SoundCloud and Twitter as well, if you want to follow me on them. Thanks for watching. Any more requests or whatever, just post them on Frisky Nipper's wall. Thanks for watching.
Don't wake me up. Yeah. Don't wake me up, Don't wake me up. Don't wake me up.